Hey everyone, my name is Marley and I am the creator and facilitator of the DBT Art Skills group program, which you're about to start in January. Yay! I wanted to talk to you and do a little bit of a video about art materials, art process, and I guess the things that you will probably find helpful to have near you when doing this group. You probably have some materials lying around. There's others that you could probably get for very little cost. And there's also some things that you might have around your house that you might not realize can actually be used as art materials. So I'm going to go through a few things. It's a little bit weird. I've got one camera pointed at my face and I've got another one that is pointed at my hand so you can see what I'm doing. And that's just because it's kind of easier to show you how I do things and how my processes go. You will probably be able to see just over this shoulder here, this little black thing. That's my pug, Skylar. Say hi. You'll get to know her. She's always in the background. So you'll probably be hearing her snort and sniffle and snore throughout this video. So that's Skylar. I also have two cats. One that you can see there, and they often like to go flying around behind me. So get used to that. Welcome to my living room. So some of the things that we need to get started. When we start the program, we definitely start by using quite a lot of, I guess, things just like pencils, pens, markers, and things like that. There are quite a lot of really great markers that are available. Of course, like you've got Sharpies that everybody knows about and goes on about. They're great. Sharpies are wonderful, but they're expensive and you don't need to buy Sharpies. So, you know, using things like Bic markers, which are also really good quality, they're a little bit cheaper and you can buy those a little bit more, I guess, places that are a little bit cheaper. Kmart also do great markers, and I have these really cool graphic markers that I got. The new Kmart Anko range is pretty good in terms of art supplies. In the first couple of weeks as well, we do kind of do some exercises that are a little bit more expressive. And so people often like to use paint and things with them. So in terms of paint, there's so many options that you can have. So for example, really cheap poster paints or kid paints like this. These are just acrylic paint. In America, they refer to them a little bit more as poster paint, but poster paint just means acrylic. So they are completely non-toxic, completely washable, all of that wonderful fun stuff. And you can obviously get them in many, many brands. Don't worry about the brand you're buying with acrylic paint. It's kind of, I guess, the cheap and nasty of the art world, but it works great. And so there's no use going out and buying oil paints or doing anything like that. Just get yourself some really kind of baseline acrylic paint. And also remember that if you're a bit strapped for cash, all you ever really need to buy is the primary colors. So all you need to really get is red, yellow, and blue, and you can make any other color from these. And of course, white and black, which are tones. So, you know, these wonderful little alcohol inks, you know, that are amazing. And, you know, watercolor inks from places like the Paper Mill, which is a really good organization. And of course, they're bright. They're really cool because they blend really beautifully. You know, they're wonderful to use. As you can see there, they like really interact with each other well, but they are incredibly expensive. And so don't worry about that. One of the things that I kind of do, I guess, in order to get around how expensive some of these things are, your basic cooking, food coloring. And my experiments showed that using this type of food color that we would get from Woolworths, each one of these I think is $1 or something, they actually work exactly the same. So they have the exact same effect. They blend just as well, you know, all of this stuff. Now, when I do it, you can see here from this palette, I have this ice cube tray that I use, and I have every single color in there, and I keep Oh, sorry. And I keep every single color in there, as you can see. Some that I've mixed as well. So I've got some browns in there, some blues in there. Now with this, one of the great things about food coloring is that it kind of dries into this weird gel. So I'm not sure if you can really see that, but some of these aren't as fluidly liquid as some of the other ones are. And what happens is they kind of get into this kind of weird gel state. And then as soon as you put a little bit more water on them, then they pretty much go back to being food coloring. And so they work almost exactly the same as your really expensive alcohol inks over here. Alcohol inks also are really terrible for the environment, and they're terrible for you. The fumes from them are extreme. These are food color gels. And as you can see, they come in many colors. So I have a collection. This is from Chef Master. So, and they're called Liquid Gel Food Color. I have 48 different colors in this brand. They each cost me, I believe, around $2, maybe 90, I think. I've had them and used them now, and keep in mind that I make art every single day. And I've had all of them now for over a year, about probably 18 months, and I've not had to replace them yet. So the way that I use them is like, what I'll do is like, I'll get my little ice cube tray here and I'll squeeze a little bit into there. So you'll see like that's just a few little drops into that. And then I get some water. Normally it's clean water, obviously. And I just add in water to it, and it literally just becomes liquid. And the great thing about this is that I could add so much water to this and it will then kind of just dry. It takes hours and hours to dry. So that's good, because it means that you don't have to, reconstitute it a lot. But as you can see, it's just as bright as that really expensive alcohol ink that I just put on that paper. Now, one of the other things that people use, of course, is watercolor. And there are many different types of watercolors. There's watercolors that are powdered, so that look like this. And this, I believe, is just from Kmart as well. I doubt it's from anywhere expensive. Being an art therapist, we kind of don't tend to buy a lot of super expensive stuff because we use so much stuff, and depending on who we're working with as well, like things kind of get destroyed a bit. But these are pretty, your normal kind of watercolors. They just take some water and, then they go on, and obviously you can see they're a little bit thinner than what the food coloring is or what the alcohol ink is. But, they work just as fine. And then you can close it up and be done with it. Some of the other stuff people like to get is people love soft pastels. So, of course, I think we've all probably seen these as kids at some point, these lovely, beautiful soft pastels. And they're great. They work really good with the food coloring as well, because they do go over the top of it. So that's lovely, and so you can mix and match things with them. And so they're good to have as well. If you are going to use soft pastels and you don't want it to go everywhere, you're going to need like a fixant or some kind of spray. Now, there are very expensive fixants that exist. Cheap hack. If you've got hairspray, this is a hairspray that has glitter in it. You can actually use this. Maybe don't spray it in your house, but this is my house and everyone's used to it. Spray it on top, it'll dry clear. Well, this one dries clear with glitter in it, and it will fix it. Put it outside and let it dry in the sunlight, and then it will fix it so that the pastel doesn't go everywhere. Now, the other type of pastels are oil pastels. Don't be fooled by oil pastels. They're just crayons, pretty much, when it comes down to it. I guess the more sophisticated crayons are these ones that kind of come more as like pencils in that kind of format as well. And, they're pretty good. Nothing wrong with them. They work just fine. I don't believe these were cheap, but these were that expensive. You know, so oil pastels, aka crayons. Now, the other thing that you should definitely have is make sure you have a glue stick. You're going to need it at some point. Also, paintbrushes. Any type of paintbrushes will do. As you can see, I've got lots of different ones here. There are great paintbrush packs that you can buy at Kmart. Keep around you as well some good quality paper towel. So I use a paper towel called Scott's, and they kind of come like this. So that's their commercial grade paper towel. They're really thick and really absorbent, and like they fold out like this, as you can see. And that's because I do a lot of work with, you know, the food coloring and stuff. So things do tend to take a while to dry. I use these to blot my work all of the time. And this is really cool because once you do that, by the way, food coloring will stain if you don't wash your hands after about 10 minutes or so, but wash it with soap and it should come out. But the cool thing about it is that it kind of always creates these really cool patterns and prints. And I keep these. Here is one that I guess was one that I was using last week. And as you can see, like that in of itself is a little bit of a beautiful artwork. And so I keep these and I use them. So I might draw over the top of that. I might use it for a collage. I might use it as a background on another piece of work that I'm doing. So don't throw things like this away, keep them. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is paper. This is from Riot Art. It's called an acrylic pad. Yeah, so you can kind of see like how that surface is there. Like it's got these lovely, beautiful ridges and stuff on it. And that's where the paper's not taking the ink. So that's like the valleys in the paper. Hold on one second. And then we'll just get it there. There we go. Yeah, so you can see there. So this stuff is really not expensive. But what's great about it is that it's meant for this type of stuff. So as you can see, it's not going to go through to the other page on the other side. It's going to stay good. So, you know, that's kind of what you want. I would suggest having one of these, something like this, some kind of art diary or journal for you to keep all of your work in throughout the program. And that way you've got a record of what you've done. You've got that there to look at. We often will do some tasks that are kind of what we refer to as threshold task or threshold skills, which is where we'll do like the task or the activity. And then I might say to you, keep this one handy because we'll be coming back to it, you know, in the next module or, you know, in a couple of weeks. And so there are a few things that we do, for example, like we do like a color wheel and we do like a values artwork. And we come back to those kind of key tasks or threshold tasks quite often. So you can see like where I've kind of done work and then just stuck it in. You know, this is like a black scratch work, for example, using black etching paper, you know, and lots of other things. I like to go over journal articles that I no longer need for uni and stuff. And, you know, sometimes you want to do something in, you know, a different format on a different paper or something like that. And this is a really good way to keep things and store things. One of the other things I would, I guess, suggest is that you go out and get yourself a pad of tracing paper. Yay! One of the most common things that we hear in any type of arts practice or arts-based kind of work is people saying, oh, I can't draw. Tracing paper can help you immensely, and it is not cheating. There is no such thing as cheating. It's not expensive. I would definitely suggest that you get some if you feel like it could be helpful. So yeah, that's some of the art materials that I have that I think you would benefit from. You don't have to have everything, of course. I wouldn't, you know, tell you to go and do that. But I guess the 3 places that I would encourage you to take a look at is definitely Kmart, and definitely make sure you go into that kids art and craft section. Another place called the Base Warehouse. And I'll put a link to this as well. They have hundreds and hundreds of art and craft materials. If you're in Sydney, they are based in Alexandria as well. They have a big store there. And Riot Art. So if you had ever seen the Riot Art stores all around Australia, most of them are closing down now, but Riot Art have moved everything onto their online shop, and they have stuff there that is so unbelievably cheap. So I can't wait to see you all in January, and please let me know if you've got any questions. Please let me know if you're unsure. We don't spend a lot of time talking about art skills and art technique in the group because that's not what it's for. It's not an art group at all. So please kind of let that go. It is a DBT skills group that uses art-based processes. And it's also not reflective of art therapy. So also keep that in mind as well, in that you're not going to be getting an art therapy experience from this. We lean way more heavily into being a DBT group than we do an arts therapy group or an art skills group. So keep that in mind. And I will see you all later. Bye.